You're ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to turn off the sprinkler and come inside for John Perrotta's Comedy Chat Zoom-a-Loozа. This week, sponsored in part by Scooter Pies. And now, the man who has mastered the art, martial art that is, of whipping a scooter pie at some guy's head, your host, John Perrotta.
Mike Cronin, the bad boy of comedy. Thank you. In the early 90s, then he went into Christian comedy. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good, John.
We got Dale Cova, very funny comedian. I worked with many times.
Hey,
Nick
John.
Albanese. Nick, of course, known for his unbelievable play, numerous plays that he's done. The big one is The Sicilian, The Last Sicilian.
The Last Sicilian, yeah.
The Last Sicilian, he went to New York with that. Then we got Stevie Collins sitting in his car somewhere in Chicago. Who knows where he is? Funny guy, Stevie Collins.
He's on the lam.
He's on the lam. But I'm John Perrotta. Before we get going, I got to tell you, this COVID has been crazy. Of course, I got about 25 masks. I got a Patriot mask, a Red Sox mask. My daughter brought this over when she came over before. I don't know where she expects me to wear this. Brought this over. What am I supposed to do with this thing?
The blast.
You can do work.
My dentist wore this the other day when I had a root canal. So now what am I gonna walk around with this?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Hey, John, can you check out a cavity? I got
Yeah.
I don't know where she expects me to wear that. That's what I mean. Now, where am I supposed to wear that? I don't know. It
You
looks
can
crazy.
sneeze and go blind.
Steven, you wear masks? You wear your mask, right, Steven?
I do. Oh, yeah. I got trillions all in the car, but they're in the trunk. I tried to make my car look clean.
How have you been handling this pandemic? You doing all right?
Me?
I mean, you were doing a lot of comedy until the pandemic hit.
Yeah. No, the comedy was the worst part of all of it. I've never missed it more. And it's starting to open up now, but so it's getting better. But yeah, other than that, I love the virus. Doing nothing, I just got to talk to people.
Yeah.
It was kind of the shit. Apart from people dying, I had a great time.
Did you have to work? Were you still working? Or?
Nah, it was optional, but I took months off pretty immediately because my mom works actually in the coronavirus unit at Brigham and Women's. So
Wow.
she was there every day, and so if something were to happen and she gets sick, I was going to have to take care of my grandma. So I did. I was a good boy. I didn't go out or do anything. And so, yeah, I was always on call in case something happened to my grandma.
How's your mom doing? She's a first responder. We got to give her credit. How's she doing?
Yeah. Mama Collins, baby. She's doing good. She's doing good. As Bostonian as ever.
God bless her, because that's a tough. That's not. I wouldn't want to be a nurse during a pandemic. That's or a doctor or a firefighter or police.
And my
Any
sister.
of that. I wouldn't want to be any kind of first responder during a pandemic, man. That's the toughest job in the world, I think. You know.
Yeah, my sister just got. This is her first time working in the field, and she was in nursing school too. So her first assignment ever was also coronavirus. First time on the job during a global pandemic.
Where does she work?
I have no idea.
A hospital or a doctor's office? Or?
Oh, it's hospital. So I think it's Lowell something. She works at some local hospital in Lowell.
Wow, God forbid. Hopefully you won't get the virus, but if you do, you got your mom and your sister to hook you up.
Yeah, to cough all over me. Perfect.
He's crazy. We got Nick Albanese, the last Sicilian. What's going on, Nick?
hook him up with some IVs. That's what we'll hook him up with.
What have you been doing, Nick?
I just been, last time we talked about being in a funk and depressed and like not much happening. But last few weeks I've been out of it. I've been working on my book. I've been working on a couple other little film projects, and hopefully one day I can tell you all about them. Hopefully
that's cool.
I'll be working on them soon.
That's good. And when do you think your plays will? When do you think the plays will come back? Will you be able to stop? That could be a while, huh?
Yeah, who knows, man. I mean, P-PAC and I think Trinity, they're not open until like 2021. So who knows? You know, so that's why I'm working on a couple like screenplays and short films and stuff like that. I've been just writing a lot, so we'll see what happens.
I know some of the comedies coming back, but most of them are outside shows.
Yeah,
I see the Connection's going to be doing some inside stuff. I don't know, but most of them are outside shows.
I don't know how you guys feel, but I don't like outside shows, man. It doesn't feel like a comedy.
I've done outside shows. I never really cared for them, really.
The last one I did was one years ago. Mike Murray hooked me up with, and it was at this fair in Bristol in the woods out somewhere. The stage was the front porch of a house, and I was doing comedy. And it was a free gig, no pay, and the closest person was like 500 feet away. And Mike Murray was supposed to do the gig, and he came just to watch me bomb. And he was the only one laughing, sitting there laughing. And after that, I never did an outdoor gig again. I never did it again.
You don't want to do the last Sicilian outside, huh?
Oh, no way. No way.
And then we got Dale Cobra, my man. I worked with Dale many times, and you guys are all good friends of mine. Dale's a good friend of mine. I miss working with all you guys. Loved working with Dale. He was, the last show we did together, I believe, was at a church in Providence. And Dale smoked it, man. He did like he always does awesome. He smoked it. He was hosting. We had a great show that night. I think it was the Prince of Mystery, Rock and Joe, me, Dale, a few of the guys, and you did a great job there. How have you been holding on? Have you done any comedy at all? Are you still waiting it out?
Yeah. So real quick, Nick, I just want to say, Mike Murray is responsible for a lot of weird gigs around the area. He always got something.
Hey, it's a good thing he's deaf. He can't hear us right now.
Right. But for me, as far as the quarantine, you know what they say, stop the smell of roses. It's kind of been like that for me, where it's been about 2.5, almost 3 months now, or something like that. So I've just really been I've been off Facebook for a little while and kind of took that little break. I'm kind of back now. That was really nice. I just started focusing on what's in my house, the people here and what I have here, and just kind of like I said, stopping the smelling roses. Something I always wanted to do was plant vegetables for the summer. And for some reason, I just got inspiration to do that. I haven't got any produce or nothing's growing for me because it's just a hard thing to do. But
you gotta put them in the dirt, dude. You gotta put them in the dirt.
I gotta put it in the dirt, right? It's not that. It's the bugs. They eat everything. And the whole point is to try not to use pesticides, right? To do it naturally. That's the whole point. Otherwise, I can just go to the supermarket. But they eat everything. But so as far as comedy, what's crazy is I realized that being out in the yard, in the garden and stuff is like a meditation, because I'm not thinking about anything. Usually I'm just thinking about, I got so much stuff in my head. I'm like, man, I can't focus on anything. But it's like a meditation. And so when you meditate, jokes just start flying by, right? You know what I'm saying? The jokes just pop into your head just for no reason, no effort. So that's been really, really nice. I haven't really done any stand-up, of course. We did do a show last Saturday, LOL Saturdays in Woonsocket with Marvy Marv. And
I was with him today.
So nice. I had a lot of stuff that I wanted to say. We did it on Zoom, but we also had about 20 people in the audience with us on location. So, the timing and everything was good. It wasn't like we were speaking to a crowd without a response. So, and then I tell you, like you said, Steve, just doing that made me realize how much I really, really miss it. I was I guess I was in denial, all right, it is what it is, I can live without it, whatever, this is how it is, just to do. But then when I got on that and was able to get there, I was like, man, I love this, and I hope it comes back. So had a little something once in 3 months. Pretty good.
Little taste of it, because it's I know I miss it, but it'll be a while before I'm gonna take the stage anyway. So I'm doing I turn to the Zoom shows and I shave away, but I'm not really doing a show because we're more or less having a talk show. I figure that's less pressure, and if somebody wants to crack a joke or they got something funny to say, they can go ahead and say it, but it's no sets. It's not like a comedy show, but it's been going well. I've had some good from the new comics to the veteran comics, and getting everybody involved and seeing friends that I haven't seen. I get to see guys like you guys I haven't seen, and so I'm enjoying it. We got Mike Cronin, my friend from 1991. I met this guy in '91. He's doing a great thing for me now. He's working on my YouTube page. He's working on he's uploading the videos that we do here on the Zoom shows, and he's uploading those and some of my videos and getting my my YouTube page together, which I appreciate, Mike. Been helping me out a lot. So what's going on with you, Mike? The bad boy of comedy.
When Nick was talking about that gig, that private party, it took me back years ago. Dana, when she was running the Comedy Connection, gave me a private gig. Summertime, nice night, beautiful house. So I get there, and it's in their backyard on their pool deck. They've got like 50 people there, all on their pool deck. Beautiful pool. So I'm saying to myself, how am I going to get and keep their attention at a pool? So I walked out to the very edge of the diving board and did the whole hour right from there. And every now and then I would just jump up and down the entire hour. I was like Greg Louganis of comedy for that night. Right on the very edge of the diving board.
I never heard of anybody doing comedy on a diving board. How did you do that?
You should have ended it like Ronnie Dangerfield in Back to School. The triple Lindy, whatever that movie was.
And dove right in. Well, you know, when you get to a show like that, it's a private party. So it wasn't a bachelor party, so I wasn't going to be able to go off and do bachelor party mode. There's men, there's women there. There's like around 50 people. It was all adults. It was a beautiful night, nice and summery. And I said to myself right away, how am I going to keep their attention in a setup like this? So I said to myself, you know what, man? If you walk to the edge of that diving board, they'll keep their eyes on you. Just make sure you back it up with the jokes. So I had a great set, did the whole thing there, got paid.
Oh, my Lord.
Everybody was happy.
That's insane, Mike.
That happened.
What did the people? I mean, they paid attention to you. You're on a diving board. They probably. I mean, I can't swim. If I'm on a diving board, I'm gonna probably risk my life.
The whole time. And when I showed up back then, guys, my hair was super long. It was halfway down my back. So I went in the. I had come up with this stage persona called the Bad Boy of Comedy. I wore a tuck-tail black jacket. A T-shirt with a cartoon on it, Homer Simpson or Charlie Brown. So I showed up to this particular show in full Bad Boy of Comedy regalia. The T-shirt, the black tux tails. I had these MC Hammer pants that were black and white striped with Chuck Taylor Converse sneakers. So when I got on the edge of that diving board, they were like, whoa, this guy is either from Van Halen or he's drunk out of his head and he's going to fall into the pool. Let's pay attention to him. So I just did what I normally do, worked the crowd, went through. Matter of fact, working the crowd, that's how that opening I did tonight. Last week, I'm watching John's YouTube video, and he's doing a private party. Or a show, regular show, I don't know what it is, but he's working the crowd, and he goes up to this guy, and he goes, brother, what do you do for a living? So the guy says to me, he goes, I'm a martial artist. So John pauses, looks at the guy, and says, martial arts? Brother, the only thing I know about martial arts is opening up a scooter pie and whipping it at some guy's head. I laughed so hard I fell off my chair laughing. Matter of fact, I called you up, John, after that. I was losing my breath laughing. Who says that? Whipping a scooter pie at some guy's head. It was hilarious.
I don't know where I got that. I got that off the top of my insane head.
Oh, man.
One of those days.
You see the difference? Mike Cronin back then could balance on a diving board, and now last night he fell out of his chair. So
yeah, right, exactly right, man.
It comes with age.
Right. I went from the Bad Boy of Comedy to 62 years old being Grampy Mike, so I wouldn't be pulling that stunt anytime soon at all.
You still ride that bike behind you. You ride a bike.
Yes, I am still riding the bike. I'm glad to report I'm getting my daily exercise in. I don't know if I shared this. The first time I started to venture out and ride, like 30 years ago, 25 years ago, I was an avid rider. I would ride all the time. I'd ride from here in North Providence, my mom and dad's house in Warwick, power line trails, everything. So my dear friend Patty Wood and a group of friends, they're avid bike riders. So I said, you know, I've got this bike. It doesn't even have like 50 miles on it. I'm gonna start riding again. So I go out and I start riding. Now where I live is at the base Nickeltail. John, you've been over here. And Dale and Steve, if you're familiar with North Providence, I live at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. So here I am, 62 years old. I'm trying to pedal out. I go up these 3 big hills. Well, don't you know, I fall on all 3. I fall on the first one at the top, get up, wipe myself off, go down the hill, up the other hill. I fall at the top of that hill. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Get it together. So I get back up. I start riding up. I go up the 3rd hill. I can feel myself running out of gas, and I can see the plane of the hill. I just can't make it here. So I got my little legs pumping. I go down like, man down. I fall down hard. This woman, probably in her early 70s, comes running out from behind this SUV. What happened? She's probably saying to herself, who is this knucklehead Irishman falling down on a sunshiny day in the middle of the street? Now, this time when I went down, I cut my knee, so I'm bleeding. So I look at her and I say, well, here's what we got here. I'm 62 years old, and I'm trying to get myself back in shape. So she looks at me and says, God bless you. You'll get there. So I was like, okay, thank you very much. And I walked the bike the rest of the way up to the hill until it flattened right back out.
Hey, it would have been great if she said, "Are you the bad boy of comedy?"
Oh man, I'm telling you.
I remember
and when you
Mike
go down like that, what happens too is, you know, in getting back out and riding, the quadricep muscles aren't what they were years ago. So when I try to balance myself to get myself back up, I look like I'm all drunk trying to get my sea legs back under me. I mean, this woman must have said, I'm going to call the cops. This guy's drunk trying to ride a bike. And then they have to humble myself by like walking it away.
My big exercise of the week is taking the trash barrels out and then waiting till the next morning and taking them back in. That's my exercise. I got a treadmill. I look at it. I walk to my car. They put the air conditioner on. I walk back and that's it. I should exercise. I was walking for a while, but I should go over and help Dale with his garden or something. I don't know. I got to do something, man.
That's my exercise. That's it.
I come over there, Dale. I don't know, man. Everything might die faster than it's dying now. I'm not known for my gardening skills, brother.
You're gonna see John Perrotta nibbling on cucumbers.
No scooter pies. I did see one little tomato starting to grow. You got strawberries, a bunch of strawberries, but the slugs ate all of them. When I say all of them, I mean every last one of them.
Yeah.
Because it's been raining so much, right? All the rain has just been crazy. So it's nuts. Next year will be much better. This is the learning year. This is the learning
year.
Yeah.
Hey, my dad, my dad is going home to Jesus, but he was a big garden guy. And one year, somebody told him about hang him upside down, John. So my dad was always thinking he's an innovator. He goes, tells my mom, Barbara, we're doing the tomato plants different this year. We're going to hang them upside down. And my mom's like, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, what are you talking about? So what he did was he started growing it inside the house. So then as it grew, he had a potted plant. And then he put the tomato plant in it upside down. So now all those stems and branches were hanging out the bottom. So as it got bigger, then he took it outside and he just hung it on one of the hooks where my mom would usually keep the summer plants. Dale, I'm telling you, this sucker grew softballs. They were so big. They were ginormous. upside down. My dad thought he was Mr.
I never
Rogers.
heard of anything like it. I never heard of anything like that.
Honest John, my dad, he did it. Upside down tomato plants. My mom thought he lost his mind. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, John. Upside down tomato plants.
How long did he do that? Every year for a long time?
He did it for quite a few years after that. And they would grow big, big, big. They were gigantic. He was always up for new stuff. One time, right, he's putting around out there, so he's got all these chains. So my mom says, John, what are you doing? My dad says, I'm going to pull the shrubs out from the front of the house. She goes, you're not going to pull the shrubs out from the front of the house. My dad says, you watch me. So he goes out, hooks all the chains to the back of the bumper of the Pontiac, backs it up, wraps them around the base of all three of the shrubs in front of the big picture window, and then just drives off the front lawn, pulls all three of them right out. My mom's in the house screaming, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. That was her favorite thing. It was unbelievable. He pulled all three of them right out. And another time, he's standing out there. He's on the front. Now, my dad had polio. He walked with a limp. So my mom was very protective of my dad. So he's in the tree on the ladder, way up. And he's cutting branches down. My mom's flipping out. John, you're too high in that ladder. Get down, John, get down. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, you'll be the death of me yet. So my dad liked to joke around a lot. I used to always tell my friends, my dad ended his life in a wheelchair. I could have wheeled him up on any one of my stages, and he'd do a tight 5, no problem. He had great comedic timing. He was a funny guy. So he's holding on to this branch, and he's teasing my mom. What he doesn't realize, guys, is the branch that he's holding to keep his balance and up on the ladder is the branch he's cutting down. So as he's joking with my mom, he makes that final cut. Down he goes. And I mean hard. He falls right into Brendard Avenue. My mom comes flying through the front door. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, John. So she hovers over him. And once she found out that he was okay, I thought she was going to beat him up right then and there. He broke 2 ribs, went to work the next day.
Wow. That's hilarious.
You got a lot of stories with your father, man.
He should have been
one
a
story of my
stuntman.
father. He sat in a coach, cool guy, drink his beer for about 50 years.
That's awesome.
He didn't cut no shrubs. He didn't do anything. He didn't have a garden. He didn't write
That's
a play.
my dad.
He was a cool guy, but he just chilled out.
John, that might be an Italian thing. My dad didn't do that either.
Your dad just stayed in the coach too?
No, he never did no yard work or anything like that. He had a bakery. He would walk around and make sure everybody was working, and that was it.
Hey, in the early 90s, the guys at work told me, John, you got to start cutting your own grass. I had a landscaper, right? I said, all right, you know what? I'm going to do it. I got ambitious. One of the guys sells me a lawnmower. Another guy said, I'll let you borrow my weed whacker. Now, in my house, you got to lift it over a wall, cut the grass, lift it down, lift it over the other wall, lift it down, go in the back. And it was unbelievable, right? So I figured, I'm going to do this. And then I get the weed whacker, and I never used one. So now I got the weed whacker. I got shorts on. It's like June, July. Got the weed whacker up. All of a sudden, all the way down my leg, the thing snapped on my leg. My leg was full of blood. I was like I was in Vietnam, right? I'm looking at my leg. That's the end of cutting the grass. I gave the guy the lawnmower back. I gave the guy the weed whacker back. I've had a landscaper ever since.
Handed him a
Nothing
leg.
to do with it. Stevie, you want to start cutting my grass?
I'll cut your grass. I'm in, baby. I live close
I got a
now.
landscaper. He pulls up with 3 guys. They hit 6-7 minutes. It's a few bucks. I don't have to cut my leg open. I'm happy. Stevie's been in the corner. He's been in the corner smoking. What are you smoking? Anything wacky?
I got a jewel. I'm trying to, quit the cigarettes again. Extend my life a bit.
Yeah, you got to quit the cigarettes, brother. How old are you, Stevie?
24. Yeah. I just wanted to be raspy and cool and ride horses.
I remember when you first started comedy. You came around at the pub or the
Babyface. I had a suit. I brought my passport and ID because I thought there was a form I had to fill out.
I remember you. I remember you coming.
I combed my hair for you, John.
Yeah, and then you took off. You kind of came back, took off, and I finally said to you, look, you got some funny stuff. You got to get serious with this. You either get serious or forget about it. And then I think you took our class and you started doing better. You had a gig with Lenny Clark, and you started doing some good gigs, and I think you did. You had to get into it, You had to get into it. I had to kind of give you a little push.
Tough love, baby.
Yeah,
tough love is always appreciated.
Yeah, you were kind of like I said, Stevie, you got to get serious with this. If you're gonna do it, you got to get serious with it, and then you did. You got serious with it. I'm glad you did, and hopefully when things come back, you'll get back with it, But you were doing well. You're doing well.
Yeah, I'm already kind of back. Well, not back full force, but I haven't missed an open mic. I drive my car with no brakes up to Boston. I go every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm out doing things, and
the pub is back on Mondays.
I go there. Yeah, I haven't missed it once.
Nice.
Why don't you get your brakes fixed?
Because this car is garbage. I already gave up on it. I figured I'm not spending another $1 on this car. I'm just gonna drive it until it dies.
Like the Flintstones?
Yeah.
What is like the Flintstones?
The floor so I can pedal faster.
You can't drive a car without brakes, brother. I want to tell you that. I'm part Polish, but I know that. You can't. You gotta have brakes and a costume. I don't want nothing to happen to you.
I know.
Your mother and your sister are a nurse. We want you to be healthy, so you gotta get the brakes fixed.
I want to get work.
Yeah, you gotta get the brakes fixed. You need a Firestone credit card? I'll co-sign for you. Get the brakes fixed, kid. I don't want you to get hurt.
I know, I will.
How's your girlfriend doing?
Good, wonderful. We just had 2 years last week.
Wow.
2 years. She turned 21. 0 arguments. Wow, is the world's greatest relationship. We don't have. You know what I did is I looked at guys who get divorced, and then I would consider her second wife material. I decided to skip every part of the first thing. She's just gorgeous and fun, and that's it. It's the greatest thing in the world. I skipped everything. I got
2 years is good. My first marriage, I think I was with her 7 months. 7 months. The first 2 months of the marriage, Dale, honest to God, it was going pretty good. She used to make me eggplant palm. I come home from work, and I'd leave for work. I pull out of the driveway. She was a nice girl, blowing me kisses. And 2 months in, I'm saying, I'm like, maybe this married life is for me. And then I'm pulling out of that driveway, and I look up, and she's in the picture window giving me the finger. Honest to God. It's 2 months in. Now I'm saying, wait a minute.
Oh, that's love right there.
Maybe this married life is not for me. And I get along with it today. I run into her. One time I had, she worked at a breakfast place, and my second wife and her, I got a picture with the 2 ex-wives. I was divorced twice, and I got a picture with both of them. I get once in a while I put it on Facebook, But
it's nuts. Me in a double headlock.
Yeah, I got some issues. But bad boy, how many times you been married?
I was only married once. I was married once. That was like 100 years ago. Darlene, still love her with all my heart. She's a great girl.
You keep in touch with her?
Yeah, all the time. Matter of fact,
is she the lady that when you fell off the bike that said, "What the hell are you doing"?
No, but she would have been that way. She definitely would have been that way. One time, Darlene comes over to my mom and dad's house. My dad had a floor jack to jack up the cars. So he kept it downstairs. So she goes, "John, I want to borrow the jack." "Can I?" "Absolutely, Darlene. Let me go and get it." So my dad gets up. He walks, goes downstairs. So now, because of his bad leg, he's limping. So you can hear, that's a step. That's the next step. So he's putting this jack on each step as he goes up. So he gets to the very top of the stairs. Darlene figures she's going to help him. So she opens up the door to go to grab it. She bumps into him, knocks him down the whole flight of stairs, right to the very bottom. My mom is screaming. She wanted to kill her, run down the steps, see if my dad's okay. So I still stay in touch with Darlene. Matter of fact, when my dad passed away, went home to Jesus, Darlene and her husband, Tom Jones, they were in the receiving line at Walter
Jones.
Quinn. That's his name, Tom Jones. Quinn
It's not
funeral.
unusual to be my friend.
Does he sing?
You know, I don't know if he sings, but he's a great guy. That marriage, you know, that was my fault. It came undone because I was just irresponsible. I was happy
You were a bad boy.
guy. Yeah, I
You
know,
were
right?
irresponsible, the bad boy of comedy.
I know,
You
would
back,
fight-
freaking Goldschlager.
That
You were
that would
irresponsible.
that would sound very uncharacteristic to me. Darlene used to tell my mom, everything's a joke with Mike. Everything is a joke. But that's been my outlook on life. You know, you got to have fun. You got to be able to laugh.
Mike, back up a second. Your dad, all these stories, he should have been like a stuntman in Hollywood. Because he can take a fall.
I'm telling you.
Super Dave.
I went over the house one day. I'm in like my mid-30s. I go over the house one day. I open up the door. It stinks so bad. I'm like, what the heck is this? So I said to my mom, I go, what's that smell? My mom goes, I don't know. Your father's downstairs. He's trying to kill us. So I go down the cellar stairs. My dad's got these big 5-gallon cans, white cans, with the black skull and crossbones right on them. This tells you this is not good stuff. My dad is rolling this goop across the cellar floor with no mask on. No mask on. Did the entire cellar floor with that. That's what he needed. He needed the N95 mask, that thing. He's rolling it down, rolling it down, rolling it down. Unbelievable. My dad was hilarious.
What was the stuff? What the heck was the stuff he was?
It was a sealant that he put on the top coat of the cellar floor. That cellar floor, that house was built like in the late 30s, early 40s, so it's a standard cape.
See if there's any of that left. Maybe we can go over to Dale's tomorrow and put it on his garden. Maybe that'll help.
Dale wants to get that
around the garden. The animals won't go in there.
Seal it there. We'll just seal coat the whole garden and I'll buy you tomatoes. It'll be easy.
That'd be a good idea. Great
Now,
idea.
Dale, we got Dale and Nick, big family guys. Dale's married. How long you been married, Dale?
Oh yeah.
In 3 weeks, July 17th, I believe, it'll be 21 years.
Wow.
Oh my
21
Wow,
years.
you've been married 21 years?
Dale looks young. He's a little older than he looks.
You get married when you were
He's a
12.
young-looking dude. I always told him that.
Dale has the most beautiful eyes in comedy.
Before we did this show tonight, Nick was saying, you know this guy Dale Cover? I said, I know who he is. I know who he is. So I went to your Facebook page and I said to Nick will say voucher. I said, man, he is.
Why does he only have one shirt?
I said, he's a handsome man. He's a good-looking guy, but man, he's young with gray hair. I don't know how old he is, but man, he's handsome. So you've been married 21 years, so that tells me that you're a little older than what I thought you were.
That's the gray hair. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How many kids you got, Dale? How many children you got? I met your wife before, Dale. She was really nice. I met her at least 1 or 2 shows, maybe more.
Yeah.
I met her at the show we did, I think, in Connecticut for Mavi Mav.
That's right. That's
I met her there. She was really nice, really nice.
And you met her here too.
Yeah. How many children you got, Dale?
We got two boys.
Oh, boy, how old?
15 and 13.
So you're having fun.
Yeah. They're good.
Having fun.
Good, and
They're good kids. They don't drive you nuts.
Nah, they're really, really good, man. They're we're blessed so far. You figure like teenagers give you a hard time, but nah, not these kids, man. So
I'll tell you about I'm in my daughter's room. She got married and left, and this was her bedroom. It's not a Comedy Factory headquarters. In 2004, listen to this story. I love my son. My son comes in the bedroom with his friend. And they're young kids. His friend, he used to shoot out the hairspray, and they would light at these kids, and it would be a flame, and they thought it was cool. So I'm not here. My wife's sleeping on a chair downstairs. All of a sudden, he shoots the hairspray. They light it. A little spark goes on my daughter's bed. There was 9 million stuffed animals on the bed, right?
Ooh.
They walk out of the bedroom thinking that's it. They go downstairs in the kitchen to play a game. About a few minutes later, the smoke detectors go off. They know right away that they're screwed. They come running up. My daughter's whole bed with all the stuffed animals was aflame. The whole thing was aflame, right? Terry calls me up. The house is on fire. I hear firearms. I'm like, what's going on? I shoot here. I couldn't even get on my own street. The street's blocked off. Fire trucks everywhere. I run down the street. Luckily, my daughter wasn't home. She was at her friend's house. My son and his friend went and hid. Long story short, they had to go to the police station that night. And my son, he learned a lesson, but there was $100,000 damage to the house.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
Had to move out for like 8 months between the insurance company working it out where they could get everything fixed, and water went in all the way into the basement. There was water damage. It was unbelievable. That's of all the things my son did. That's one thing he did. But I did that. What I did when I was a young little kid, the tissue paper. I used to like to light that on fire and then put it out. You ever see kids that like to light that tissue paper wrapped around dishes or something? So I did my own fire story. My father's in the kitchen. There's a brand new dining room table. I'll never forget it. I decided I want to light the tissue paper on fire and then I'll put it out. I don't know how old I was, 7, 8 years old. I light the tissue paper. I go to put it out. I can't put it out. My father comes in from the kitchen. The whole dining room table is on fire.
Oh, man.
My father, if he finally gets it out, he's chasing me around with the belt because that's the way it was back in the day. So I lit the house on fire. My son lit the house on fire. I'm afraid to have any grandkids. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the grandkid will do to be.
Hey, don't invite the grandkids over.
Yeah, no. I don't want any grandkids over here.
Welcome, nice to meet you. Sleeping on the lawn.
You got to watch my son and me real close. But Dale sounds like his kids are pretty chilled out.
Yeah, they're pretty good, man. We don't have any matches.
You don't have to worry about them lighting up the house. My son won't mind me telling that story. He tells it. There's a crazy story. Nick's been married. He's got a great wife that I met many times. How long you been married now, Nick?
This year, September, it's going to be 12 years.
12? Nice. No, I thought it was longer than that. 12 years.
Yeah. It feels longer. Yeah. I know.
You guys are doing great. How old are your kids? I know you got 2 young kids.
I got 3.
I got 3.
Yeah.
Wow. What's their names?
Santino, he's gonna be 11 in September. Adriana just turned 9, and Luciano, my youngest, who drives me crazy, but I love him. He's gonna be 4 in November.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm busy.
Guys, do you drink a lot, Nick, or do you drink a lot, or?
I started during the pandemic.
If you guys need Stevie Collins is looking for side work, he'll come over and babysit. If you guys ever need,
dude, I got you.
Stevie Collins will come over with all his hair and he'll be blowing smoke, trying to quit smoking with no brakes. He'll take the kids for a ride, you know.
Let me teach you something about menthols.
Put him in the car. Put him in the car. We're going to McDonald's. If we can't stop.
The ideal babysitter, Stevie Collins. No brakes, trying to quit smoking. Crazy, Stevie. You're crazy. Well, we talked about a lot of stuff. What else? Anything else we could think? Dale, what else? You got a subject you can throw out there? Anything? You can think of?
Nah, anything I can think of right now is just so politically incorrect, man. So we just want to focus on.
You said you were thinking of jokes. Have you been writing any of these jokes down?
Oh, actually, yeah. Like I said, I had a show. We had an event last week, and
how did your set go? How'd you like your set?
I loved it. I did 45 minutes of straight everything.
Did 45 minutes? Wow.
Everything I've been thinking about for the last 3 months, I delivered it without a hitch because I just kept. What I do when I don't have an opportunity to go on the stage, I just go over it in my head. Yeah. You know, and what do you call that? Like that's
do you write?
Yeah, I do write.
Are you right, or you remember ideas? I'm not good at memory, so I'm a notebook guy. Are you just all in your head?
What I do is they come up in my head, but when I feel like they're ready, then I go ahead and I organize them, I collate them, and I put them all together and I group them. You know what I mean? So I do both.
Yeah.
Right? So I do write. I'm not the guy that just says, oh, I don't write. No. I'm a visual person, so when I'm performing, I can actually see the paper in my mind. You know?
Oh, that's cool.
Like I'll write on like sticky papers. I'll take like red, blue, yellow, and I'll write different jokes on those colors, and I can see the colors in my head. So that's why when it really helps. So anyway, it was great. I was able to do all new material, all current, relevant material, and I felt like I was able to. I was surprised I remembered everything. I thought my timing would be off. So
you had 20 people in the crowd. Were they, the ones that were there, plus the Zoom audience, were the people that were there, were they responsive? How were they as an audience?
They loved it. They loved it. They loved the show, and I think it's because they haven't gotten out in a while, so they were so happy and so supportive to be able to have a safe place. And it was a really big room. We spread it out. We had people in their little groups. No one was on top of each other. We had masks. I wore my mask. Not everyone does, I had my mask. Some people had their masks, so we was trying to distance and be really safe. And just I think it really gave people a good opportunity to get out and enjoy some really good comedy. And so the response, and it was nice because it was Zoom, right? So when you do a Zoom comedy show and there's no response, you know how that would be. That would be awkward. But since we had, even if you get like 10, 15 people in the crowd to just be able to carry that timing and the response, it makes a huge difference. So it was all great time.
It'd be tough to do a Zoom show with just Zoom with no audience. I think it'd be tough to do a Zoom show,
I was with Marv today. I was just hanging out with him earlier before I came here. And he said after that Zoom show that Dale was on, he got messages from, I think, Georgia, North Carolina, and I think it was California or Florida. But people from all over, the country came in to watch that show.
That's what's cool about it when you think about it. And it was in Woonsocket. Marv has a spot down on Main Street.
How is that spot? I haven't been over there yet, Dale. I got Marv coming on the show soon, but how is that spot? It looks really nice.
It's a really good spot. So he had two. There's two. There was like a bar downstairs, and that's what we've been doing over the past year. A very small space, but he had upstairs. It's an old hotel, and so upstairs is the ballroom. So you can actually do it's like an event room. They have a stage, and it's a really big room. And for the first time, he opened that room up. And Marv, you know how he is, John and everybody else. He'll paint, clean, decorate, set stuff up. So he had that room really presentable, and it's a very big open room with a stage, lighting. It was just like it was just wonderful. So
he's a great guy. I remember the first time I met him at the Pavement Park, and we hit it off. He's a great guy, Marv.
Dale, did the backdrop for that show that you're talking about, did it say LOL Saturday?
Yes.
Yes, it did.
Duchess SS put that up that night of, and I said, you know what? I want to support her because I met her on one of these Zoom shows. So I logged in, but I could only hang in there for about maybe 7 minutes because I found on my end the feed was very poor. It was very staccato. People getting stuck. I couldn't follow the comic what he was trying to say, and I could tell that he was funny. He had a good rhythm going. I liked his cadence. I could hear some laughter that was in that facility, but because the Zoom connection was so poor, I logged out. Now, am I the only one that you're hearing that feedback from, or did you hear that from others also?
Absolutely not. I heard that from others. So the issue is this. There's two things that we got to fix. So the first thing was the sound. So what we're going to do, it was the first show. What we're going to do next time is we're going to put a wireless mic, and we're going to plug the wireless mic directly into the computer. Right. So the audio you heard was from the room echo, the camera in the back. So all that just made it very bad. Now, as far as you're the first one that mentioned the frame rate or the delay as far as the video, the visual. So because because of the place we were at, we were tethered to a cell phone. So the laptop was into the cell phone. The cell phone was going out over the 4G or whatever, LTE, and that was our connection. So because we don't have a direct wireless connection, so those are a few things that we have to figure out. Those two things. But yeah, so not the first time we heard it, but we'll do our best. We'll definitely be able to correct the audio. Definitely.
I can tell you that my church, Restoration Church, Rhode Island, Pastor Tony is big on tech. So we've got looks like Channel 12 rolls up with the cameras and whatnot. So we're just back in our sanctuary this past Sunday. However, since COVID hit, so the past 3.5 months, everything's been live streaming, and we've always live streamed all the time. But what I can tell you is, with the right equipment, and what they do is they hotline right from the soundboard, right to the cordless, right to the speakers. So when they're live streaming Zoom on Sundays, which we do, it looks like you're watching a movie. So that's all you got to do is just get that tech pot fixed. Hotline from your soundboard to your sound systems, and then figure out what you're going to use for a camera. Now, in my experience, if you're really wanting to move forward with this with your friend Marv, invest in a camera, a good camera, and that's going to be like watching a TV show, watching a movie.
Yeah. I think we have a decent camera. We can fix the audio. I think the one challenge is going to be the Wi-Fi in that area. That's the thing that's going to be the catch, because
Wi-Fi.
we don't have a direct connection.
Most of them go you got 2G and 5G, and that's just the I forget the word. I'm an electrical science major, and I should know it. It's the height of the sine wave, like the power of it. So it won't go as far. But if you put the computer on the same table as a router and you connect to 5G, that's going to be 2.5 times as fast of an upload speed. So that way, by the time you guys see it, it's going to be way more clear.
Well, we're going to a cell phone though. That's the problem.
That's a major problem right there.
We don't have Cox or a hardwired Wi-Fi connection. We were streaming tethered to a cell phone and using LTE. That's
There you go. That makes sense why it was looking like I was looking. But now let me ask you this, Dale. On the back side of it, do you know what the analytics were on that? Like how many people were watching it? What time? What you peaked at? Did you have a good show rate of people online watching it?
I didn't look at any analytics, but from an eyeball, as far as just scrolling down and looking at the number of people that were in and out at a certain time, it seemed to me that 30 to 35 people was probably close.
There you go.
So we had
That's good. So now that's got to tell you. So you had 35, 40 people, and they were probably dropping out like me, because I'm saying to myself, this dude is definitely funny, but everything is staccato. What I mean by staccato, it's like the bit frame rate is staggering, his voice is staggering. So I was like, I'm bowing out. But now, had I logged in and those other 35, 40 people log in, and they're looking at a crystal clear picture, they're going to stay. And then other people are going to log in, they're going to stay too. One of the things that Pastor Tony had said to us early on is, every Sunday we talk to maybe 300 people at Restoration Church. Mm-hmm. But now, when we had to close the sanctuary down, now we're talking to 3,000 people.
Wow.
And Nick goes to Ocean State Baptist Church. They see 500 people at their 9 o'clock and 500 people at their 11. That church, Ocean State Baptist Church, seats 1,000 people, and they've got good high-tech stuff there. So when you plug into a feed that's high-tech, like when I see Nick's Pastor Mike come online, it's like I'm watching TV. It's crystal clear. So all you got to do, man, is just get that tech side fixed, and this will grow for you.
Yeah, and if you do that, if you do that, Woonsocket will become the mecca of comedy in the world.
Yeah, you know, what's crazy is with the COVID thing, that's the thing. We may get back to normal, and that's going to come over time. But what I hope is that we still continue to appreciate and use like the online service, you know, and not let them go away and we go back to complete normal. Like we go back to normal, but we also continue to use of Zoom and different streaming services like that, because like you said, we can reach way more than what we normally do. Like a normal show, you struggle to get 20 to 50 people, you know? So to be able to have such a great show by using Zoom, it's like from Woonsocket, who's gonna go to Woonsocket? You know, like at the moment, because we haven't built that rep, but we were still able to get a nice reach.
You guys get those issues straightened out. I mean, it sounds like it was a great show. So if you get those issues straightened out, and you're gonna do great over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's what we've been up to. Yeah. Good info, guys. Appreciate that.
Not only do I think that that's like going to be a part of comedy, I think that's going to be inevitable. Because it's a weird thing to say, but this is the biggest technological boom that's ever happened to stand up in its history.
So let me ask a question then. So I don't want to cut you off, but let me ask you a question based on what you're saying. In order to do that, and I'm cool with it, but what do you guys think? You're basically giving your comedy away, right? Because you're live streaming. You can make it private. Yeah. And you can try and charge. You can do that. But in this case, we're saying, hey, come one, come all. We want to entertain you. It's free, or it's accessible. It's out there. It's not protected. What do you guys think about that?
I think in terms like that what Zoom has taught us during this pandemic is the need for it. The need for it. More companies have turned to Zoom. My church, we have prayer meetings through Zoom. We have our men's meetings through Zoom. We were online with our church services all through Zoom. Are you guys familiar with Michael Jr.? You know who Michael Jr. is?
Yes.
Anybody you're not familiar with Stevie? Michael Jr. is one of the biggest comics in the country, and he's a Christian comic. So Michael Jr. had a tour planned. So what he did is he naturally had to cancel the tour. He like Tammy Pescatello told you, John, she lost 47 dates. So Michael Jr. loses all those dates. So what did he do? He went to Zoom. I subscribe to his ministry, so I get emails from them. He charged $22.50 a ticket. Now, if you Google and look at just quick teaser reels of that Zoom, it was just like watching one of his specials on TV, crystal clear. So us as entertainers, where do we want to go? Like, I understand what John says and what Nick says and what I have said, and you, Dale, and I'm sure Steve would agree. You can't beat the live in front of you audience. To feel that energy coming right back up, the laugh, the cascade. I mean, it helps your timing. It helps your set itself. I don't know what it would be like to do a set for a camera and not have people that I can follow. It's like a football. A good running back needs a good offensive lineman. So if you can't follow that good offensive lineman to get through that hole, you're going nowhere. So
I think what
could it be successful? It absolutely could be successful, because if you take a look at entertainment, Nick touched on this. Broadway is shut down for a year. PPAC shut down. Trinity shut down. These people got to do something. If you log on to Facebook a lot like I do, you'll see all these performers, especially coming out of the Philippines, these phenomenal singers that are out there in that group quarantine karaoke, but they've got it all linked up to their Venmo, to their PayPal, so that they can make money. This is how these people are earning their living. There's this one girl, I became friends with her. Her name is Lani Kiabayab from the Philippines. This girl is an unbelievable singer. She drops Whitney, Adele, effortlessly. Just a beautiful, God-gifted individual. That's how she's earning her living right now. So we in the entertainment field got to figure out a way if this doesn't get behind us, how do we move forward? Like, I'm retired, so I got my pension. You know, thank you, Jesus.
I don't care.
Good. I'm retired, right? But you know, I'm guessing you're not retired. I know Nick's not. He's one of my best friends. John, one of my best friends.
I feel like I'm retired right now.
Right, but there are people out there that we know. I'm not going to mention their names, but there are people. I've been doing this for 30 years. There are comics that I'm very close to. This is their full-time job. They're hurting right now. They're hurting. Yeah. No money's coming in. So we as a collective group have got to figure out moving forward, do we utilize this technology to be profitable? Michael Jr. proved it. So if you now granted, he's Michael Jr. None of us on this feed tonight are Michael Jr. Oh, I think people are paying $22.50 to go see that. My point to you, Dale, is you've done it, and I applaud you that you had the gumption, the faith to step out and say, you know what, we gotta do something. I just can't sit and watch my garden grow all summer. Let's do something. So now you at least got it up in the air. So now you know what needs to be done. So that begs the question: if Dale gets the tech side done, and you plug into this thing, and it looks like you're watching cable TV, won't people pay $10 to go see that? I would. If I want to laugh, I would. I think, because people say, you know, well, it's different, but you know what? It is different. But maybe
it's the wave
for
of the
time
future.
being, it can be somewhat of a new normal. Because we watch sitcoms. I'm binge watching The Big Bang Theory now for like probably the 20th time. I'm still laughing at it. So people will still laugh. All we have to do is decide, how are we going to put together our product and introduce it to the consumers and say, hey, we know you want to laugh. This is what we do for a living. Let's join us and laugh. I think they'll come.
Well, and that's
that we'll have to see. We'll have to see some possibility. I mean, there were some comics doing that now and charging, you know. So I can see Dale's point. They did the show. They just wanted to do a show, and but eventually maybe they can figure out a way where they can charge so much, so the comics can only make so much, you know.
Yeah, and do you guys know what Twitch is? Because Twitch is they've been doing this for about 2 years before it was comedy. They just do video game streaming, and people pay. It's completely free, but people pay. People make their lives not famous at all, not famous, like never done anything in front of a live crowd, and they get people from mediocre humor who haven't been working on it and grinding it. Also, Dale, I feel like you were talking more about like you're giving your material away for free, so. Is that worth sacrificing? Because, I mean, comedians usually your first special's like 10 years in, first album 5 years in. I think when you aren't famous, that's almost not even a risk to take because you're not memorable yet. It's until you're someone famous, it doesn't, I don't think it hurts you. And I laugh the same way everybody laughs. You see a comic you like at an open mic, they're telling the same jokes, but I still laugh. I love the structure of a good joke regardless. So, I mean, you change up the lineup, even if, you know, some or most of the jokes are the same. People are going to be there, and people are going to enjoy it. They just don't know that they're going to like it yet because nobody goes out and sees 2 specials of the same material. That hasn't been done yet, but I do think the technology part is going to make that a part of it. They're now along for the ride of the process. And I think that's going to, strike new interest the same way we're all nerds for comedy. We go out and see the same people doing things all the time, and we love it. We see one new tagline and our minds explode. It's beautiful. And I get it, and I almost wish it weren't now, because who doesn't want to wait until you just got the perfect hour on tape or audio? It doesn't matter. It would feel way better artistically, but I don't think it'll make too big of a difference. And as far as Zoom shows and stuff goes, I think that's a great way for newer people or people who haven't, exploded, to make way more money doing it, because people like to give. That's what I noticed from Twitch, is if they like you, they're gonna like to give. It's a natural thing, because Twitter's the worst example, but there's tons of love in the world when a lot of people are all involved at the same time. And if they love you, which they will, because I think comics are pretty universally, amongst comics, the greatest people in the world. We expose ourselves to everybody. It's not just going to be for comics anymore. Everybody's going to love us because it's beautiful people. You're the best people I've ever met is comics. And I think it'll be good financially, and even if you mull over the same, the material or whatever, I think it'll be tolerable and be likable and enjoyable to people. So it is weird. It's weird the idea of giving up your material for no money up front. But I don't think it's going to be as detrimental as maybe our ego would say that it is. Well, it's history. This is the first time it's happened, so I can't say for sure. But that's
hopefully the technology works, because then you're going to be like me at this Japanese spa giving massages, which I did not intend to do as a career. So I got a client coming up. So hopefully this ends soon.
We do. Listen, we covered a lot of stuff tonight, from Dale's garden to things with Mike's father and his bike, to Stevie's mother being a nurse, to his sister being a nurse, to Nick being in the massage parlor, me, my son lighting the house on fire. But we gotta wrap things up. We gotta wrap it up. So Stevie, what do you got any parting words here tonight on the Zoom?
Stay wonderful. That's it. Don't cough on your grandma. Stay safe.
Nick, what do you got to say?
Hey, nothing. Just thanks for having me on again. I enjoy doing this, and it keeps me away from my kids for an hour. They're actually upstairs alone right now because my wife's at work. I got the older two watching the younger one, and I don't know, something's going on right now. I don't know what's going on, but it's a good time to end.
Good time, man. Dale, man, good luck with the garden. You got anything to say to wrap it up, Dale, on your end?
Yeah, I do got something to say. So I just wanted to show you guys. So if you see down here, right, I got these pictures, right? You recognize this, John? This is a show that we did not too long ago at Boneyard.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so I put most people, they wait until they get like a gold record or something like that to be proud and say, stick it up on their wall. But me, I try to like just stick things that are just like current, may not be like the breakout show in the world, but just a reminder that, it's about living every minute, loving every moment, and laughing every day. So I just want to remind people that, you got to live in the moment and take what you have now, because the future, it'll be here, but, don't let today pass you by.
That's great. And I do the same thing. I got posters from old shows hanging up, and I look at them and I remember, I worked with Dale, I worked with Mike, I worked with Nick, Stevie. I like looking at the old posters. It makes me feel.
Hey, Dale, you just turned it almost into the episode of Cribs. We're getting a tour of the house.
Oh, yes, right.
And we got the last word goes to the bad boy turned Christian comic, Mike Cronin. What do you got to say to wrap this?
Man, I gotta tell you, I'm disappointed we're rapping, because we just got into a real good rhythm there. We really did. That I'd like to continue that conversation right where we left off. I am humbled and honored to be on, John. Thank you again. I had a great time. Dale, it was great to get to talk with you. Stevie, talk with you. I pray God's favor over all of you and your families. Remember that Jesus Christ told us, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. So God himself, our living God, will guide us through this, and God is going to replace what was lost and then some.
I hope so. I want to say goodbye to Mike Cronin, my buddy, Stevie Collins, Nick Albanese, Dale Cover. Stay healthy, guys. Keep your families healthy. God bless you guys. God bless your mom and your sister. Stay healthy. And I'll see all you guys soon. I'll have you guys all on again. And it's been a lot of fun. Had a good time, man. Thanks, guys.
Take care. Peace.
You guys.